May the light of love be shining deep within your spirit. May the torch of mercy clear the path and show the way. May the horn of plenty sound so everyone can hear it. May the light of love be with you. May the light of love be with you. May the light of love be with you every day. Hey, that is called May the Light of Love by David Roth. Thank you. Such a beautiful song for this time of year. All right. Let's go up to a higher place. Good morning, everyone. Let's stand if you are willing and able. For those of you who do not know me or who may be back after a while, my name is Heather, and I am the music director here at the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. Let's sing. Up to a higher place. Up to a higher place. Up, far beyond this time and space. Up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. A higher place, a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up to a higher place. Up, far beyond this time and space. Up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. A higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
I'm David Burke, and I'm your trustee on duty today on behalf of Reverend Donna and the Board of Trustees. I am privileged to welcome you here to the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are truly welcome here. Here you will be validated, supported, and encouraged to be all that you are meant to be. Our vision statement is love in action every day, every way. We express this love by learning and living the principles of the science of mind. You'll find our declaration of principles on the back of your program. Please join me now when we read them. I believe there is an intelligence that operates throughout the universe. I believe this intelligent power is only good. I believe this intelligence expresses as me. I believe through my conscious use of this power, I create my life as happy, healthy, and complete. And so it is. Thank you all for helping me through that. Do we have any first-timers today? No, I know we have a couple of returning people, like Sue. Where did she go? Oh.
Kayla's here visiting. She lives up in Tucson.
All right. Nice to meet you. Glad to have you here. Susan, and this row, we've got like our welcome backers, so that's great. Please stay and have some refreshments, get to know us a little better. We're actually some pretty cool people. I would also like to thank the people who made the Sunday celebration possible. And first of all, that's all of you sitting in the chairs. This place has a special spot in my heart, and it's all because of you. Please direct your attention to the announcements in your program. And for those of you watching online, please visit cslaz.org for our announcements and our event calendar.
The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. Namaste.
Hi, my name is Louise, and contrary to what our program says, I'm not John Lopez, but I am just so happy to be here anyway. He and I switched, so next week he may show up as Louise in the program. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to light this service candle, just knowing that we each have a light within us that we take out into the world. So if you want to take just a deep breath or just center yourself, and I know that there is one power and one presence. I know that it is perfect, that it expresses as everyone and as everything, and I call it God. I am one with this one. As I know this about myself, and I know this about each and every person here today. And I know that we are all one. We are all that expression of God. I know that we are each here today to express the love of this divine community, to embrace this service in our minds, our hearts, and our souls. And I know that there are blessings for Reverend Donna, who inspires and teaches us with her words. I know that this service is unfolding perfectly as it is meant to be. And together we say, so it is. So my reading today is from this thing called You. Surprise, surprise. We just finished, or we're finishing up our class on it this week. And it's chapter 8. Anyway, so divine guidance is yours for asking. The answer to any problem which can ever confront you already exists at the center of your being. It is not enough to merely know that divine guidance exists. You must use it. You use it by consciously recognizing its source within yourself and by deliberately calling upon it, expecting it to answer. In order that you may not receive false impressions, you can test the thoughts that come to you. For instance, if you receive subconscious impressions having the slightest element of destructiveness in them, you may know that they do not emanate from a divine source. For spirit is not the author of confusion, but of peace. If you wish to be certain that the impressions that come to you are from the spirit, analyze them and see if they are of the nature of goodness and peace, which spirit must be. That's all spirit can be. God never sets one man's opinion against that of another. God, being love, never wills hate or destruction. God, being peace, never ordains confusion. When a problem confronts you, take it into the silence of your consciousness, and instead of thinking of the problem, think of the answer. God does not have problems. Therefore, the divine mind is the answer to every human problem. Principles never have problems. Problems are solved by bringing them under the control of principles. The problem is dissolved as the principle flows through it to the correct answer. Mentally act and think as though the problem were only an argument trying to convince you that you do not know the answer. It is your business to neutralize this argument, taking apart thought by thought, until there is nothing left of it, until you reach a realization that dissipates this argument. The divine presence will guide, guard, and protect you. It will counsel you with wisdom. Its might and majesty will enter into your being. It will sustain and uphold you in everything that you do. You will learn to talk with it, and you will receive direct, intuitive answers. Faith is the essence of this communion. Be certain that you recognize the universal law of mind as your servant. This law is the principle you are to use. Your faith in this law causes spirit to act upon that faith, to bring into your experience those things you accept. All you need to be sure of is that you never use this law for destructive purposes. When you have complied with love, you can use the law without any sense of limitation or fear. Namaste. I did forget, I wanted to mention, if you're not on our birthday list, we have cards over there. And we also have cards for prayer requests. If you have something you want to pray for, or you just want to vent, we're happy to take that into prayer for you.
I'd like to do something for you today that I've never done. And come full circle. I started off the month of November with a song called Holy Now by Peter Mayer. And now that we've been through the sacred and the mundane and the profane. Oh my, yes. I'd like to take us back there because it's, number one, it's just a beautiful song and I love it. But number two, this is a reminder that everything and everywhere we are and every fiber of our being is holy. Every fiber of the trees outside is holy. Even the traffic, Black Friday traffic, is holy. You can find those pockets throughout your entire life, every day, all the time, all day. And, you know, we have a saying in New Thought, there's no spot where God is not, right? And that's what this song is all about, and that's what this entire month has been about. So this is for all of you. When I was a girl each week, Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even greater magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water's rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I gotta hold my breath, 'cause I'm swimming in a sea of it. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second rate hand-me-down. I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament, tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird, shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. Maybe wanna bow my head, I remember when church lit out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. Everything, everything, 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 everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. All right, now it's the end of the song. Well, thank you. Namaste.
Okay. Good morning. And my thanks goes out too to everybody who helped with Thanksgiving. Again, Sherry, thanks so much for stepping in and doing so much. It's just wonderful. And our guys came down, and I expected to be decorating next week, and they just did it. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat. Well, as you know, we're finishing our theme, the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. Oh my! And when I hear that, I hear the Wizard of Oz, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! So what is this oh my? I think the oh my is a culmination of recognizing that there is something wonderful and fabulous in our lives, and we forget it. We forget it. We've been talking about seeing the sacred in both the profane and the mundane. And in fact, in order for us to have any kind of spiritual enlightenment, we have to get to that place where we're at least willing to see the sacred in everything, even if we think we can't. Just be willing. Be willing. I've told you this story before, but I love it. It's from Anthony DeMello. A salt doll journeyed for thousands of miles over land until it finally came to the sea. It was fascinated by this strange moving mass, quite unlike anything it had seen before. "Who are you?" said the salt doll to the sea. The sea smilingly replied, "Come in and see." So the doll waded in. The further it walked into the sea, the more it dissolved, until there was only very little of it left. Before the last bit dissolved, the doll exclaimed in wonder, "Now I know who I am." And that's what we're doing. We're looking for this sea of consciousness. Our road to enlightenment, those moments that we have our little glimpses of enlightenment, have a feeling of oneness, our bodies don't dissolve. But the consciousness of separation does dissolve, so that we become immersed in the immensity of the love that created us out of itself. Dr. Ernest Holmes says there's a light and life at the center of all things and a consciousness that responds. This imprisoned splendor to the eyes that perceive it bursts like the glory of new dawn. This incarnated consciousness and intelligence in all things can communicate itself to us and speak a divine language to the one who listens. And we're listening when we're looking for the sacred in all things. We are listening when we feel our connection with everyone and everything, because we recognize that we are all expressions of the one. We are listening when we look for the good and praise it. Or as Paul so wisely stated, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things." Last week we delved a bit into the Tao Te Ching, and we found the words, "See the world as yourself, have faith in the way things are, love the world as yourself, then you can care for all things." We call our teaching part of the New Thought movement, but the principles that we are learning go back to the beginning of time. Some of the stuff that we read go back 10,000 years, even before writing. It was handed down. The Tao Te Ching was penned by Lao Tzu around 300 years before the birth of Jesus. And Scripture itself is over 2,000 years old. So I think it's not only fun, but I really think it's necessary for us to see our spirituality through the eyes of more than one lens. Ernest Holmes says if we had all the religion in the world, it would be little enough. Every single religion, every single philosophy has that sacred place where it touches us individually. And that's why I like to bring stories in from other places. Because there's many paths, but there's one destination. So today I'd like to talk about another ancient myth that we can use to keep ourselves close to what is sacred. And it's the story of the Hindu god Indra, and I know this is one of Rosie's favorite stories. The god Indra and his net that's filled with jewels. Well, Indra first appears in Hindu mythology as a god of the heavens about 1500 BC. But the story of his net and jewels doesn't appear until about 500 years after the death of Buddha, somewhere in the 2nd or 3rd century AD. It's found in one of the most influential Mahayana sutras of East Asian Buddhism. In English, it's called the Flower Garland Sutra, and describes a cosmos of infinite realms upon realms mutually containing one another. And here's the story that's most quoted. Far away in the heavenly abode of the great god Indra, there is a wonderful net, which has been hung by some cunning craftsman in such a manner that it stretches out infinitely in all directions. In according with the extravagant tastes of the deities, the craftsman has hung a single glittering jewel in each eye of the net. And since the net is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hang the jewels, glittering like stars of the first magnitude, a wonderful sight to behold. Now, if we now arbitrarily select one of these jewels for inspection and look closely at it, we will discover that in its polished surface, there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, but each of the jewels reflected in this one jewel is also reflecting all the other jewels, so that there is an infinite reflecting process occurring. So from this metaphor, we understand that just as the jewels in the net, each object in the world is not merely itself, but involves every other object and in fact is everything else. And those objects include you and me. So you and I can think of ourselves as a single jewel on Indra's net. What I do, say, think, feel is reflected immediately in all the other jewels. And the same is with you. What you think is reflected as well. So there is no current of events that involve past, present, and future. Rather, there's an eternal now in which we all participate and in which we are continually influencing each other. Not just the other that is in front of us, but all of the others that exist on this planet. It's rather like the reply of Chief Seattle when asked to sell the land of his people. Within his beautiful commentary are the words, "All things are connected like the blood that unites us all. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself." So whatever we do, you and I, as jewels in the net, as a strand in the web of life, we do both to ourselves and to all the other jewels, crossing space and time. I've been thinking about how profound this concept is, and this past Thanksgiving week, I met John and my great-granddaughter for the first time. She's 2 years old, and she's a little bundle of love. So sweet. And I thought about that. I thought, what if I really knew that beyond doubt, that every time I felt anger or hate towards someone else, that anger or hate penetrated into my baby granddaughter with the same intensity as it came from me. Because if I'm hitting all the jewels, I'm hitting my granddaughter. Is this something I'd want for her? Of course not. And yet, how often am I the jewel that is reflecting negativity, criticism, judgment, anger? What am I doing to the web? How am I affecting each jewel in the net? We have a huge responsibility. If we are truly looking to see and to experience and to bring forth the sacred in all things, then we need to kind of learn. The Buddhists call it the way of bodhisattvaism. The way of the bodhisattva, that's easier. And it means that we see others as ourselves and we learn to live in the world with compassion for all people. As meditation master Chogyam Trungpa says, in taking the bodhisattva vow, we are acknowledging that we are not going to be instigators of further chaos and misery in the world, but we are going to be liberators, bodhisattvas, inspired to work on ourselves as well as other people. It is our responsibility, and we have the tremendous power to change the course of the world's karma. And we can take some of these ideas from Buddhism, because following the way of the Bodhisattva would be looking for the sacred. It's the same stuff. There's 6 precepts of this Bodhisattva tradition, and we can incorporate them. We don't have to go around in a brown robe with a begging bowl, you know. We don't have to move into a monastery. But the 6 precepts are pretty simple: generosity, ethics, patience, vigor, meditation, and wisdom. So generosity, to be generous, means that everything we think and do comes from a desire to be of service. We drop our own selfish motivations and instead become aware that as we help others, we automatically help ourselves. A good example might be sharing an idea that we know will bring great success, rather than holding on to the idea for our own benefit so that we can become famous and wealthy. We freely give it away because we want profound success for those with whom the idea is shared. The Bodhisattva does not think in terms of me and mine, but of we and ours. To give our time and our talents is another way we can practice generosity. I know that many of us volunteer at the food bank, the Animal League, the White Elephant, or within our center. And I also know that there's a tremendous feeling of well-being that comes from that service. And what's truly important is the attitude behind our generosity. If we give from resentment or anger or with a desire for payment, then we're not practicing the generosity of a bodhisattva. I remember a friend of mine who was minister at the Miami church, and her husband took upon himself the job of making the coffee in the morning. Well, after a while it got boring, and after a little while more, he got resentful. And Kathy said, "Stop making the coffee." And so he stopped. And then a committee was formed of people who wanted to make the coffee. But so often we start out wanting to do something good and think, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. Say so. Say so. Because what you're doing, if you're doing something from resentment, you're the jewel in the net. Okay? So that resentment's going out. And the good that you're doing is being overwhelmed by that resentment. And there's somebody out there that wants to do that good, wants to do that job. So don't feel bad if you feel like you've done this long enough. I mean, say so. Okay? Say so. Ethics is the second one, and this is knowing the basic difference between right and wrong, and to not do harm to ourselves or those around us. And the Buddhists include the avoidance of killing, sexual misconduct, consuming harmful substances such as alcohol or drugs, being deceitful, and using abusive language or behavior. And once again, it's not so much the actions, it's what is behind the actions that is important, because harmful actions are caused by a mind that harbors them. Therefore, it's highly important to be mindful of all of our thoughts. Stand guard at the portal of your mind was something my teacher would say often. Stand guard at the portal of your mind. The third one is patience. And it said that patience is the antidote to anger. When we become angry, our body stiffens, our blood pressure rises, our breathing is impaired, and so is our ability to reason. But patience creates a joyousness within us. When we are like the stream that flows effortlessly around the rocks, we find the peace of acceptance. and the capacity to tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without becoming angry or upset. Alan Cohen in his book tells a story of a little, I think it was a peahen and her chicks crossing the road. And he stopped on one side and this other woman stopped on the other side. And he was just delighted in watching every one of those chicks cross the road. She was grumbling. You could almost hear her from his car. And as soon as the last chick moved out of the way, she gunned her car and ran down the road. Here's one experience, one with patience and one with anger. And look at the different experience. Alan's going to go away with that experience, not for just a moment, but in the future as well. It's something that's going to come back to him. The lady, not so much. Not so much. The fourth one is vigor. And vigor refers to our mental capacities rather than our physical strength. It's the persistent effort to work for the benefits of others in both our thinking and in our action. A bodhisattva is careful about the finest details of even the trivial matters of daily life. So if we're going to follow the way of bodhisattva, then we need to cultivate loving kindness as a way of being in the world. And isn't that the sacredness coming out as action? Fifth one is meditation. Buddhist meditation has no other purpose than to bring the mind into the state of awakened consciousness by clearing it from all obstacles that have been created by habits, old beliefs, or tradition. In meditation, we develop a calm mind so that we can become like a lighthouse in a stormy night. We inspire others with our ability to remain undisturbed by our surroundings. In meditation, we free ourselves from false thinking and from attachments. The Buddhists believe that no one can attain enlightenment without developing the mind through meditation. And there's as many ways to meditate as there are people. I'll tell you about my friend in Florida who used to complain that she couldn't meditate, but she would ride through the woods, and a red-tailed hawk would follow her. And in that ride, she was all alone. And I said, "What do you think?" And she said, "I just have this feeling of bliss." What do you think meditation is? You know, I wish I could meditate like you. So, and there's wisdom. Wisdom comes not only from reading about sacred things or studying them, but from contemplating what it is that we're studying. How do we put it into practice? How do we become bodhisattvas? And we move into that place where we understand that the wisdom that we're using is beyond words. And with all of this, with all of our wisdom, if we're going to be bodhisattvas, if we're going to express that sacred, that's what Louise was talking about this morning, it's like taking our spirituality to the streets. Because if we don't, then those jewels won't respond with the beauty and joy that we have within us. So as we polish our jewel in the net through the practice of generosity, ethics, patience, vigor, meditation, and wisdom, this is what we reflect back to the other jewels, and they in return reflect it back to us. So as we look for the good and praise it, we are looking for that which is holy. We are looking for that which is sacred in every experience. And the more we look for it, the more we do this as a practice, the more we're going to find it. It's like the little kid last week, you know. I'll give you $1 where you can tell me where God ain't, you know. And I'd like to close with a poem by Barbara Rose Brooker. She's a therapist. And she wrote, "Look for the good and praise it." And I love this because Bob and Peggy Bailey were so instrumental in the forming and in maintaining of our center while they were here. And that was something that Bob Bailey would say all the time. Look for the good and praise it. How simple. How simple. That's our lesson that we take home today. Look for the good and praise it. And she says, in everything the good is there, our goal is to find it. In every person the best there is, our job is to recognize it. In every situation the positive is there, our opportunity is to see it. In every problem the answer is there, our responsibility is to provide it. In every setback, the victory is there. Our task is to claim it. In every adversity, the blessing is there. Our adventure is to discover it. In every crisis, the reason is there. Our challenge is to understand it. Be different, be original, be unique. Look for the good and praise it. Thank you. Namaste. Thank
you. And where I stand is holy. This one is a great chant. We've done it a few times. I think it's by Shana Knoll. Where I sit is holy, holy is the ground. Forest, mountain, river, listen to the sound. Great Spirit circles all around me. Who I am is holy, holy are we. Body, thought, emotion connecting you and me. Great Spirit circles all around me. What I do is holy, holy is my way. Work and play together, celebrate the day. Great Spirit circles all around me. And where I sit again. Where I sit is holy, holy is the ground. Forest, mountain, river, listen to the sound. Great Spirit circles all around me. Great Spirit circles all around me.
Thank you. So cool. So cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, it's time for our offering. And if you'll join me in our offering affirmation on the left-hand side of our bulletin. My gift goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Let's do it with the hand motions. If you know them, please do them with me. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, yes. Gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude below me, gratitude above me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me, yeah. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
I am. You know, I'm a bit emotional. I guess I looked. It was so sweet at Thanksgiving, and I said this, that Paul said you can feel the holiness in this room. And I thought, what a beautiful comment, because you can. So we're so lucky to have what we have, and not just lucky, but we've created this. I want you to know we have seen the sacred in the mundane and in the profane. And we have created this because of it. So thank you. Thank you. And let's close this portion out in prayer, and then join us for refreshments. And practitioners, we have a meeting. So, okay. So I know that there is one life. It is the life of God. There is one mind. It is the mind of God. It's the mind that we use. We know that the attributes of God are love, truth, beauty, joy, harmony, peace, abundance. And we know, too, that these are the divine inheritance that are part of who and what we are. So as we share our good, as we look for the good and praise it in others, we recognize ourselves to be those jewels on Indra's net, and we are the ones who are making it holy. I speak my word for anyone experiencing any kind of a challenge. I speak my word for those places that are in war or famine or any kind of a situation, that right in those places that seem to be pure misery, there is the power and presence of God. And the more we see it, the more it becomes. I give thanks for the opportunity to be here today and to know with you that all is good and very good, as we say together, and so it is. And singing.
So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world.